In this video, we're going to cover how you generate sections from your model. It's a two-step process, and you work off of the solid ribbon. The two functions that you'll need are this one called section plane and generate section. So I'm going to start off by making a line over here on the side. As you can see, I'm in top view. And using that line, I will generate a section plane. Click on section plane, select the line. Okay, now when I click on it, you can see some icons emerge. Those icons have to do with cutting the section plane. I'm going to then move the section plane into the position where I want to actually cut the section. And I'll center it on this cone form that I have in my plan. Okay. So now when I click on that line, it shows me that the section plane was moved. All right, now I actually want the section to look in the opposite direction, so I'm going to click on that section plane, and then I'm going to click on the arrow, which will redirect it. Now what you might find when you generate these sections is that it might make the section backward. It's a rather simple process once the section's been made to mirror the section so it has the proper orientation. All right, once you've completed that step, you can go to the Generate Section tool, and it will ask you to select the section plane. So we already have that. I'm going to click on this line right here, and this window will appear. I want to make some setting changes to the section, so I'm going to click on that button right there. I'm going to change the color of the section. So what it'll do is it will put fill anywhere that there is a cut through some kind of mass. I'm going to change the color to be a little bit lighter than this color 8. I'll scroll down to the bottom where it says select color, and I will choose the lightest of the gray tones. Another setting I'm going to change, I'm going to make the background lines a continuous line type, so instead of hidden, and I'll maintain them so that they show. And I'll also check to verify that the cutaway geometry will not show, so this should say no. And then click on OK. And from here it will generate a block, and I just need to click Create. Alright, so now it's generating a section, and when it's done I will just place it over here to the side, and similar to the flat shot, it will be a block. I'll enter until I get back to the command line, and there's my section. Now one thing that you'll find about these is that you may need to make some changes. Similar to how we did the flat shot, if you double click on the object, it will take you to the block editor where you can make the changes that you need to. For example, this represents Earth, which extends infinitely, so we can remove these lines. This fill pattern that you see in white here, we'll just let that fade out. Some of these lines will not appear from this viewpoint. This is actually behind the Earth mass, so while I'm in the block editor, I can make some of these changes. I can make changes to layers, anything that will affect the representation of the object. I'm going to trim those off, and perhaps these red lines I don't need after all, so I can even erase them, and I'll be left simply with line work. Once you've made the changes that you would like to, you can close the block editor. Save changes. Now one thing that I can see from this is that my section is actually it's been mirrored. This is a cone shape right here, and it should be on the right if I'm looking towards the west. As you can So in the last portion of the video on generating the sections, I mirrored my, my section here. So now it has the proper orientation. This cone form is on the right, and the portion with the raised roof is on the left, and I simply use the mirror command. Another thing that I started to do was to clarify a little bit about the line work that's within this block that was generated. So I'm gonna double click on my section, and I'm going to go into the block editor. So as you can see, some of the lines are now different colors. These are blue. I created a layer that is for cuts right here, and I assigned blue to that. So the profile, this is sometimes called the spatial profile, that surrounds whatever you're cutting, is often put on a slightly heavier line, or given a heavier line than some of the lines of, say, things in elevation. Oops. So you can go around and make these sorts of changes, and they will help the graphics when you generate PDFs of these drawings. I've also done things like added a little sort of cable that represents the support for my little pendant picture. It didn't have that originally. You could change line weights and colors of things. These are intended at the moment to print in red, but probably these will want to be on a lighter color than that. Otherwise they're going to print too heavy, so you could make those kinds of changes within the block. So I'll continue to make these changes, and then I'll show you what it looks like. All right. I also think, actually, I included this previously, but I think that the stair looks a little unusual there, so it either needs to have railings wrapping all around, or you might decide to remove the spiral stair from a particular section that you're cutting. It looks a little bit more realistic or regular. I noticed there's also some red line work in here, and again I might want to kind of clean that up and erase those kinds of unnecessary things. Oops. Be careful that you don't erase the fill, which is represented with the white color at the moment. Okay. So once you've made all of these changes, you can close the block editor and save your changes. Okay, we're also going to do a plan cut. So we did a top view, as you can see right here, but similar to a section, you can generate a section plane and it will cut a slice through at a lower elevation. So you might want to go for this stage, for this step, to the front view. And similar to our last exercise in cutting the section vertically, we can make a line that will represent a section plane. So I've made a line, and I've gone to section plane here, and I'm going to select the two ends of my line. All right, now when I click on the line, I can see that it's generated this section, this section plane, and I'm going to direct it downward. And then I'll move that section plane to be, probably about 4 feet above the ground line. This line I no longer need. And then I'll continue on and generate the section by selecting the section plane that I just made. And I can check and make sure that my section settings are the same as the ones that I made previously. Again, I'm going to change my fill color to be the lightest gray tone, like so. And everything else should remain the same, and I'll just click on OK and create. And here's the plan view that the generate section command created. One thing that you'll notice is that a lot of the line work is not showing any of the lines above that would normally be hidden or not, so you might have to include those and draw those manually. So here I've gone and I've made some changes. I erased the line that wraps around the mass. I've added hidden lines